Welcome to Breaking the Silence, the podcast where real conversations meet real healing. We're your hosts, Renee and Kelly, two women who know what it's like to walk through loss, face hard truths, and come out stronger on the other side. Together, we're breaking down walls, sharing stories, and talking openly about everything from grief and healing to love, faith, and relationships. This is a safe space for laughter, honesty, and those Me Too moments that remind us we're not alone. So grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and let's journey through life together. Welcome to Breaking the Silence. I'm Renee.
And I'm Kelly with an I.
We are so excited for you to be here with us today. So grab something to drink and get cozy, and let's just catch up for a little bit. So what is new with you, Kelly? How's your week been? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, my week was great. Tom and I's 3-year wedding anniversary was Wednesday. So we just went and had like some drinks and appetizers. And then on Thursday, I celebrated my best friend's birthday with her. And so then you and I went out to lunch, and that was a lot of fun. And then Tom and I went to Hocking Hills and stayed in a cabin, which was so nice. And I have this love for donkeys anymore. I don't know why. I've just been seeing all these videos pop up. I want a donkey. So we talk about buying land sometimes, and I'm like, I want a donkey. So anyway, we were sitting outside by the fire, and we heard a donkey, and we were like, oh, like, where is it? And so when we left the next day, like as we turned out of the driveway, on the left-hand side, the cutest little donkey was just standing there. He was so cute. We were like, oh, buddy, you must be who we heard last night. Oh, she was so cute. And then we spent the weekend in Oxford, Ohio at Miami University celebrating my stepdaughter at family weekend. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Had some time off of work, and it was just a really good time. We had fun.
Good.
So how about you?
Yeah, it's been really good. Lots of fun things like, celebrating birthdays with, family, friends, just like all the things. It was really like a lot of celebrations. I'm super thankful for everybody in my life. And then also, doing like, makeup trials and hair. Did I do hair? Yes, I did. Oh my gosh, yes. So all the birthday celebrations, I had oral surgery. I had a tooth removed the day before my birthday. So that was sort of fun, but really like I didn't really miss a beat even with that, like they told me to eat soft foods and stuff, and here I am with you eating Mexican the very next day. I did not do rice though. I told them no rice. And yeah, doing hairstyles for the wedding. That was fun. And makeup trials. So a lot of fun stuff like going on with getting ready for the wedding. So
yeah.
Anyways, alrighty. Well, I thought we'd go into just talking about what it looks like to start dating again after loss, whether it's divorce, the death of a spouse, whatever it is, especially with kids still at home, because that I think adds a whole nother piece of, things to navigate. And so, and I definitely want to acknowledge, like, it does take a lot of courage just to even think about dating again after loss. And I definitely want to like normalize like all the mix of emotions that I think, and I'm sure you experienced it too, Kelly, like, the guilt, fear of starting to date again, the excitement, and, like maybe there's like a bit of hope there. I don't know. I definitely feel like last year when I decided like, okay, it's been 3 years since Dave passed, like I think I'm ready to open myself up to dating again. Yeah, there was all the emotions, I think. I remember I I remember even the very first time I went and met someone for coffee, and as I drove home from it, crying because I was like, I never thought I would be in this place, you know? And maybe even the like feeling guilty sort of, you know, for moving forward in some ways. And even though I know I didn't really need to feel guilty, like I would want Dave to have done the same thing, of course, but still just I just remember thinking, I can't believe this is where I'm at in my life, you know? I'm sure you probably even felt that too. Like,
Oh, I definitely did, because it's not something I wanted. It was something that, I mean, just it had to be over, but not by,
right.
it was by my, well, I guess I shouldn't say by my choosing. It was my decision, because I just, couldn't live that way. And ultimately in the end, I think it was his decision, because like there was somebody else. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
There's definitely some choices made there, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't want to be a sister wife. Sorry.
And I think too, then there's the piece of knowing that your kids are going to have big feelings about like you moving forward. Like, so acknowledging even the uniqueness of not only do you have to be ready to move forward in that way, but also raising kids while you're trying to navigate the whole like dating thing and all that. And so,
Yeah.
and I know that was probably like at first I didn't even like my kids told me like a couple were like said they were ready, like they wanted me to be happy and stuff, you know. Um but I also knew like a couple things for me, boundaries for me. First of all was my kids have been through a lot, right? Like I was just like my kids have been through so much. I will not bring somebody else into their life unless I know we are pretty darn serious, you know?
Right.
Like, no, I'm not going to have men around that are just, hey, we're just like dating a few times, like, and introduce them to my kids. No,
Mhm.
absolutely not. And so that was one thing, like things that I just felt like I knew I wouldn't bring men like in and out of their lives. That was one boundary. So I knew like I will have to be very serious with whoever it is. Like, we will have to be dating for a while and know, like, we're pretty committed to each other
Yeah.
before I want to introduce them to my kids.
Hmm.
Um, and also then, and because I acknowledge too that it is a sensitive thing for them, you know, like even my grown kids, I think to just that's all they knew their whole life was their mom and dad together. And as much as they want me to be happy, there can still be some feelings with it too, right? I think that's perfectly normal. And then like Brody, my youngest was so funny because when I first talked to him, like I talked to my kids and I was like, "What do you think about me dating?" And this was probably so like when I decided in last September, I still didn't really talk to them about it because I was keeping it very low key, like all of my kids knew if I was meeting somebody or something, I was meeting a friend, you know, and that is very much how I kept it with everybody. I was just meeting a friend, going out with a friend, whatever. But come like this, let me think, maybe like April, I would say. Um, I asked my kids, you know, well, I talked to my older boys about someone. And then also I asked my younger kids, like, hey, what do you think about um, me dating? And at first, like months back, this was probably quite a while ago, Brody was talking about, um, well, you can't ever date anybody because that would be cheating on dad.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, no, that really isn't anymore when they're no longer here. And also, we had to talk about like, you can make room in your heart to love someone else too.
Hmm.
Like I said, that doesn't ever change that he's your dad or that I loved him or any of that. And I can still have room to love somebody else, you know? I said, no different than when Bryant passed, you know, or when I had more than one kid. Like you have one kid and you love them so much and you think, how could you ever love another kid like that? But your heart just grows to love your second kid and your third kid. I said, and look,
Mhm.
we had 8 kids
Right.
plus bonus ones too that love. And I said, your heart just can grow more. And even with Bryant, as much as I loved him and he passed, there would have been room. Like they wanted me, to foster again, which I was like, no, we're not doing that. But there would have been room to love again. So,
Yeah.
anyways, a lot on that for just navigating it with your kids and being very sensitive, I think, to their feelings and how they feel about it and respecting those things. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, like how you felt how you were going through it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just totally, navigating new waters, because you are a family unit and for the most part, you're comfortable with everybody, you know each other, and then just have this foreign or different person come in, and or even if it's a good thing, even if it's a good situation, you can still mourn the loss of like if you're the child, like your mom and dad not being together anymore, and
Mhm.
I kind of feel like in Tom and I's situation because, I mean, we definitely have had our rough spots. We've had our ups and downs and things like that and stuff. So it's one of those things of I would just assume maybe I'll just make a broad statement. Unless it's like an abusive situation, I would think most kids would be like, even if it's a new stepmom or stepdad that they really, I guess I'm going further than just dating, but if you decide to become a stepmom or stepdad and um, that the kids will be like, even though this is a good, I like my stepmom or my stepdad, this is a good situation. But they can still be like, but I really wish it would have worked with my mom and dad. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. I think that even goes back to like we can move forward after death, loss, whatever it is, and have joy again, right? And still acknowledge, I wish the story could have been different. It doesn't
Right.
mean I don't love you
Right.
and that you're a part of our life now because God can bring beauty from ashes. But
Yeah.
man, I really wish the story
Yeah.
didn't have to be the way it was? Like, I think it's again being able to acknowledge both and having the and, like,
Yeah.
wish it could have, the story didn't have to be this way. And we're so happy that you're in our lives now?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know initially, even when Tom and I started dating, my son was very much like, I'm happy for you. Good for you. And enjoy that. Enjoy your extended family, but I'm okay. And thank God, just over time, that is like because my son has so much respect for Tom and just, I mean, all the dynamics are very much different. But we're like 8 years in to this.
Mhm.
Um, but just like I think you had kind of touched on this. Yes, our kids had been through so much. My son had been through so much. Tom's kids had been through so much, and
Mhm.
our kids are going to be our priority, and we will make it work if we have to go without seeing each other and or travel, back and forth how many times, because we really dated in two separate households for 3 years and that was driving like 35, 40 minutes one way to each other's house, but we were like our kids and I'm so proud of us that we did that because I don't know, I mean, our kids never voiced it, but I wondered if they were ever wondering at some point we're just going to be like, let's just merge, let's just move and whatever. And I hope they're proud of us too because again, I am proud of us that we made that commitment. Like we're the adults here.
Right.
Kids have been through a lot and they're going to be our priority and we'll make it work. And
Mm.
I feel glad that we kept that like I feel like a promise to them, and then then once like my son graduated and went on to college and stuff like that, and so yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important, like, so how you guys did that, and then also, and I'm going back to sort of like how I was talking about, like, even how some of my boundaries that I had, like, I feel like, well, for one, I know I'm just super protective of my kids because they have been through so much. So, like, I very much feel like I keep that part of my life completely separate from my dating life. Like, even in the sense of, like, for one, not even like hey, we're not going to do the whole mix in like you meet my kids and stuff. If we're just casual, like if I don't know what we are,
Right.
I'm not bringing you into my kids' world. I'm
Right.
not doing that for somebody else to be gone again, you know? Um, and not that you can always guarantee what's going to happen, but you know what I mean? Like at least the intention is to be there.
Right.
But then also like very not sharing a ton about my kids because again, like I just for me, it is important for me to protect them as much as possible. And so, not really even, and maybe if it was in a serious relationship, yes, of course, opening up to share more about my kids. But otherwise, like, I'm not going to tell you everything about my kids because I'm not, I respect their privacy, I protect them, like all the things. So,
Right.
and everybody probably has different feelings on that too of how much they want to share about their kids and if they want to,
Mm.
bring somebody else into their kids' lives. So I think that is definitely a personal decision, of course, but I think that you have to decide what your standards are or your boundaries. I would encourage that, I would say, ahead of time, whatever your standards are around that, so that here's where I'm at on it. And you can be upfront with them and let them know, like,
Right.
I don't really it has nothing to do with you. It's just I'm not going to open my kids up to that,
Right.
because they've went through enough loss. So,
No, I agree.
um, and then one thing I would say too, like touching on checking on like your readiness to even see if you're ready. Some of the questions you can ask yourself um before stepping into it, like, is it that you're seeking or wanting companionship or just trying to fill a void? You know? Like, I know for me now, like, I think this is a beautiful place to be. I was thinking about this the other day. It was actually after I had like trimmed my bushes up front. Like, I was thinking, I'm not really one of those people, and this might be going off a little bit from what we're talking about, but sort of not. Like, I'm not one of those people that doesn't believe in like love and marriage and all that. I do. I really do believe in it. But I was thinking, man, when you get to the point in life where you can pay your own bills, you have your own money, you
Yeah.
have your own car, you have your own home, you can do your own work on your home, it really puts you in such a different place that I don't need a man. I want a man in my life. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I meet somebody, I'm saying, like, if I want you in my life, that means I want you there, not that I need you there because I don't anymore. Like,
Right.
so I just thought that's
Yeah.
such a different place to be in life when you realize, like, I'm doing just fine all on my own. I've done it on my own now for 5 years, and like, I mean, I'm not saying my boys haven't ever helped with anything, but even just realizing like, no, it's really now a matter of like just wanting to spend time with somebody and enjoying somebody's company. And
Right.
so I think that's one good thing to ask yourself. Like, is this about just wanting to enjoy somebody's company and have fun with them? Or am I still trying to fill something? Am I trying to fill a void, a need, whatever?
Right.
Um, And I would also ask yourself if you've given yourself the space to grieve, like really take the time to let yourself grieve. And because I just think that, in my opinion, it's we have to grieve at some point, and we don't want to use that as our way to like cope with the loss. Um, and then I would also encourage you to ask, can I handle rejection without it opening old wounds too?
Mhm.
Which I think some of that's normal. I mean, maybe, maybe not. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I think even with a lot of healing, I mean, there's still a lot of triggers and stuff. Yeah. I think you always have triggers. Don't you think? I think that maybe they won't be as strong
Right. I was going to say right. I think that with the more healing we have, they're not as strong. Yeah.
or fewer and far between, or maybe learning how to handle them differently, or if you're able to have that conversation with your partner about it and stuff too, because I have found with myself, I cannot do it at the moment. I can't articulate what I'm trying to say, and I think you and I have talked about this as well.
Hmm.
Give myself some time,
Right.
kind of like really because it makes sense in my head, but to actually articulate and say, sometimes it doesn't come out the way I want it to. But I will notice like a couple days later when the emotions aren't as high, then you can just kind of have that conversation and, you know,
Mhm. Yeah, and I
yeah.
think, like, for me, one of the things I talked about with my kids was and for me, even figuring out, like, I am mom, and I love being mom, like, but I'm also Renee, you know? And, like, learning to, um, rediscover that part of me, you know, like because for so many years, I think I was so into all those roles of being mom and, you know, caregiver to Bryant and wife and all those things, but then figuring out like, wow, I'm Renee over here too. And Renee wants to have fun and do all these things. And so I think that is important to balancing the role of both mom and us
Mhm.
as an individual, you know, that has needs and wants to go do fun things and, you know, spend time with somebody other than kid talk. And even though it's amazing, but
I just, it makes me think, even not just your kids, even the way your friends or family can respond to, because and some people are very critical. Like if somebody, I've known situations of this, somebody loses a spouse and they start dating quickly after or have somebody,
yes.
and you can be very judgmental. And I'm not saying I haven't done that before, because even with you, I think it's because I know all your ins and outs. I know your heart. I know everything. Like I never thought, oh gosh, Renee, it's too early. It's too soon. I never thought that you just jumped into anything. And you do have such good boundaries and protection for your kids and yourself. Um, but there are times, that you would be like, oh gosh, they started dating way too soon. Now, there are some times, when it can seem sketchy, you'll be like, was somebody in the wings, and then, but I'm talking about something totally different. Just somebody meets somebody and they start dating right away. And maybe they really do click. And I think what that is because nobody knows what that is like. So I guess to say this, to say that, like a death, yes, is a death of someone that's not coming back, but relationships and are also kind of like a death. And some people just don't like to be alone. You know what I mean? Especially people who are I think more so people who are widows or widowers that, they just really they thrive for that companionship. Anyway, I guess I'm just saying I think sometimes we can be judgmental, but nobody really can judge like if somebody's moved on too fast. And I think
Right.
I've been with that and stuff. But you don't know, how lonely people get or just need that companionship in their lives. And
Well, and I don't mind being honest about this. Because I've talked about this in like last year in episodes. Like, I did meet someone like not long after Dave was gone. And it was truly, in some ways, such a gift because it felt like they knew Dave the way I knew, well, not the way I knew Dave, but on a different level, I would say, than how my kids see him as dad, you know? And it
yeah,
felt like there was just that connection of being able to talk about Dave on that level. I think of like as an individual person, like versus when I talk to my kids about their dad.
right.
Um, but also why I would encourage being careful how soon you do it. And this is me speaking from experience. So I would just encourage being careful in that you are so, so vulnerable in the beginning. That's why they tell you not to make any life-changing decisions in the first year. Like
Right.
even after Bryant died, like, don't like within the first year, don't do anything. Don't separate, don't do anything. Like you're just grieving your child right now.
Right.
And same thing, after losing a partner or spouse or whatever. Don't go sell your house and move to another state or,
Right.
I mean, yes, individual, but I mean, if I'm just offering my encouragement and my
Mm,
perspective of like, give yourself time because so much changes in that time.
yeah. Yeah, because I think what you're saying, I mean, some people that might work for them. That might be something that was the best thing for them to sell their house and move or whatever. But I think ideally, yes, that's not a good move. And to talk about people's vulnerabilities, because I feel like this has happened to me as well. People do prey on vulnerability. So you may not always be getting the best person as that replacement or
Right.
not a replacement, but that companionship or whatever, because you really have to watch out for people like that because they do prey on that vulnerability to, I guess, so you maybe won't, you're not seeing the red flags and all that.
Right. Right. And yeah. Yeah. I think that yeah, we'll just leave it there. So, well, and I would say some like practical steps for re-entering the dating world. Like, I think it's for me personally, this is just my perspective. Some tips that I can offer. Start light. Like I personally, I love coffee dates for the first one, like meet for coffee or something, because it's like, or it could coffee or a walk, just something super low pressure. You know, if you drink, meet for a drink, whatever. But it's just nice because it's low pressure. If you hit it off, great. You can sit and talk for as long as you want. If you don't, you can end it pretty quick if it's just coffee or something, you know?
So if you're going to,
And
might want to get a tall.
do what?
I said if you're going to Starbucks, you might just want to get a tall
There you go.
and just see how it goes.
There you go. And if it goes great, then great. You plan another date, right? Like, but if not, then you're not stuck for like hours.
Mhm.
Um, I was fortunate. I went to dinner with somebody. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to dinner. I can't believe I'm doing this. I normally say like coffee is my thing for the first one. And thankfully it went really well. But I was like, what if I get stuck in this dinner and it's awful and I can't get so yeah, I would recommend like low pressure dates for first ones. Um and honestly, like I would also encourage like online dating or, maybe mutual connections. I think depending on where you are and especially the season of life, if you live like, rural like I do, and you're busy with kids all the time and things like that, like maybe online dating is best for you. So I think being open to different things
Yeah.
and being willing to put yourself out there is what I would say.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any shame in that. I mean, I think maybe back in the day, like, people would, there'd be like a stigma or whatever. Is that the word I'm trying
Yeah, yeah.
of online dating? Because I mean, there are a lot of catfishing
Mhm.
out there, or people who are just hiding behind there. But I know a lot of people who have met online and have made great connections and are happily married, 20 plus years later. So, um, yeah. And I think a lot of times, yeah, if you're busy, maybe even where you work, there's not a lot of, people or, single people or somebody that they can't, like they have a sister or a brother they want to fix you up with, or, you know, um, or, if you don't go to church, or even if you do go to church, there, there's just if you don't go to all those things, if you're not a person that goes out or goes to the bars or stuff like that, I think it would be very hard to meet somebody.
Yeah, I think go to places that the things you enjoy.
Hmm.
I mean, yes, do the dating like we're talking about dating apps, but also go to the things that you love doing. Go
Hmm.
to those places because you're going to that's where you'll find people that are like-minded that are, you know,
Yeah.
like so if you're like I mean, if you're into the whole bar scene, great, go meet yourself someone at the bar. But like if you want somebody meet somebody, get involved in like go. I mean, even like things like going to the bookstore if you love to read, like you're gonna meet people that love to read,
Yeah.
or whatever. If you love to work out, go to the gym. Things like that too. I think that's even, just that goes along with putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would never have met Tom in a thrift store though.
you wouldn't. Well, see, and that sort of worked out that, well, I was going to say mutual connections, but also the fact that you work together, right?
Yeah.
In the past. Um, and I would also say, like, just being upfront too with, like, if you've been divorced or if you are a widow, a mom, like, you don't have to overshare all the details. And I surely don't, because again, like, I feel like it is a privilege to get to know those parts of my life, you know? Like, I don't just share that with anybody. I have to really trust you and feel like there's some kind of connection for me to share. I'm not, of course, I share some, but I don't overshare.
Right.
The other tip I would give you is trust your intuition.
Mm.
Your gut will tell you if someone is safe or not. And
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, you know, Kelly, like I've done so much work and I'm so aware of things now that I can be on a date and listen to what people are saying
Hmm.
and be able to pick up like, okay.
Yeah.
So trust your intuition and yeah,
Yeah.
it will not fail you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I will say, it really is dating again after loss is brave. It really is to put yourself out there again. I mean, I'm sure you can agree with that.
Well, when I got divorced, I just was like, I didn't think I was going to meet anybody. I mean, I really was. I think I was 45. I'm like, I'm a has been. I mean, really, you're just so sad about all the things that are falling apart because you don't see yourself, you don't see that happening. You think you're, in a secured marriage and, and not everything's perfect, but, you're just completely blindsided. And I'm like, well, that's that. Now where am I going to meet somebody who's going to want me, who's going to want to date me? And it really, with Tom, really was when I totally was not looking for it. And that saying is because that's so hard. Because I think we even talked about this too. When you're looking for it, not looking for it. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, I'm trying not to look for it, but I'm still looking for it. But really, I wasn't. I kind of got out of a small relationship, and I was just kind of like, okay, all right, I'm content, whatever, with myself, and that just his message just kind of came out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, I think that's often how things happen when you're just like, I'm sort of good where I'm at right now in life, like doing my own thing, like whatever, working
Yeah.
on different things, like growing myself as a person.
Hmm.
I think that's when we least expect it. And that's when things come along or something happens, we meet somebody. So, um, and I would also just encourage you that, and even that goes right into you saying, like, thinking you're 45 and you are a has been, and um, you are worthy of love. Every one of you are worthy of love, companionship, joy that never ends. Like, even
But
for me at
it,
55.
but it's very scary though. You think like, and I think you're just all those emotions. You really are like.
Mhm.
I mean, I felt very hopeless in all that, and
Oh, I am absolutely not saying that those emotions aren't valid. Of course they are.
yeah,
Like, I remember even talking to you and be like, I was what, 50 years old and have 7 kids, one in heaven. Like, who wants that? But you know what?
yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah. I mean, we do tell ourselves that kind of stuff
we
because
tell ourselves stories that aren't true
yeah,
because there
exactly
are people that, whatever we think we are, there are people that want that, right? There are
right,
people that value family so much and love the idea of big family or
yeah,
that are in the same thing of like at 45 or at 55 or whatever. So
right,
we just tell ourselves these stories. And I'm not saying it's not valid how we feel, but we also got to challenge it and say, is that really truth, though?
right.
Because just as much as, you know, yeah, there's people in the same seasons or like those qualities, are very family oriented or whatever. So a closing thought I would say is that you can hold grief in one hand. This seems to be the theme that we talk about all the time. You can hold grief in one hand and hope in the other.
Yeah,
It's not either or, it's
mm,
both. And I'm right smack dab in the middle of that season right now in my life because this is when everything really started to change, like Dave and I got sick and, by the end of next month, it will be, when he passed.
right,
Um, so you can hold the grief of what has happened and also joy again and hope for what's still to come.
right.
So, anyways, is there anything that you want to add there, Kelly, before we wrap up? Any last thoughts that you have or?
No, not really. I think just in the midst of that, grief, you kind of have to surround yourself with good people, just give yourself grace, give yourself time, um, give yourself permission to take that time and be a little choosy, you know,
Mhm.
the um just whatever standards you have, don't lower your standards for anything. I mean, I know sometimes people are just like really picky, right? And you're just like, you have a friend that like, oh my gosh, you're not going to make the perfect man. You're not going to make the perfect woman. But at the same time, yeah, just don't try to force something, if it's not, if it's not for you or there are other, red flags, don't try to force something that's not there. And then just kind of, when you're not looking for it, it'll happen.
And I think I would say too, in all that, like, so go have fun. Just have fun. Enjoy the experiences. Like, go out to eat, go for coffee, go to museums. Just enjoy somebody's company for one. For two, like we talked about, trust your intuition. And if things aren't, um, if you've done your work and you notice things, don't be afraid to, like you said, and this is where it comes into your standards, don't be afraid to be curious about it, ask curious questions, like, and see where they're at with things.
Right.
Because maybe it's as simple as just having a talk about something and then being like, oh, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to, or whatever.
Right.
And okay, but have the talks early on, be curious. And if not, then you have saved yourself. If you have those talks early on instead of putting it off,
Right.
thinking, oh, we'll talk about it later, or I'll see what happens, you will save yourself months or years of time if
Right.
you need to. If you need to cut the ties in, like if you both aren't on the same page or whatever, you can
Right.
save yourself so much time. And that's okay. Like, hey, we had a great time while we were together, enjoyed the dates, had so much fun, the conversation was great, but it's not a right fit, and you can move on to dating somebody else and, just having fun in the process, I would say.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
not taking it all too seriously, I think, but also knowing, like you said, what your standards are, what you want, what you're good with, and so.
In the
And
midst of also have fun and enjoy your children because they grow up so fast.
mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I would say that's probably one big thing for me, the balance of that, like, I'm very upfront, like, I'm my kid, like, I'm it for my kids. There's
Mhm.
nobody else. I'm full-time mom, so fitting dating in, like, my kids come first. And that doesn't mean that somebody else isn't priority to me because
Right.
I believe that what's important to you, you make time for, right?
Exactly.
But I also do have to acknowledge, like, I have kids that I'm finishing raising, and, yeah, so I think just being very upfront with those things and that, letting them know, like, if your kids are your very first priority, I mean, hopefully they are. I mean, and but also, trying to make time, or not trying's not the right word.
Right.
Uh, Making time for them as well, and for you, not necessarily. I mean, yes, for them, but more for you to just be you. To be Renee, to be whoever you are. Like, you get to be mom and love that and be all in where you're there, but also get to go be you and your individual person and have fun.
Right.
So, alrighty. Is there anything else you want to share, Kelly?
I don't think so.
Alrighty. Well, I just want to thank everybody for, thank you for spending time with us. And I realize that you could spend your time anywhere. Kelly and I both realize that. And so we're super thankful for you. We would love to hear any stories that you want to share about, um, starting to date after loss, whether that is losing somebody, through death or divorce or whatever, what that looked like navigating for you. And otherwise, just know that we send you off with so much love. We're so thankful for you, and we will chat soon. Thank you for joining Kelly and I today on Breaking the Silence. We hope this conversation reminded you that you're not walking this journey alone. And that even in the hard moments, there is still room for laughter, honesty, and real connection. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend who might need the reminder. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss a moment with us. Until next time, remember, you are seen, you are so loved, and we're in this together.